Am I wrong for not attending the engagement dinner my future in-laws threw for me after my fiance hid my engagement ring? My fiance, 31 male, proposed to me 28 female days ago. He has this habit of joking around and pulling pranks from time to time. It bothers me sometimes, but I try to have patience. His family wanted to throw us an engagement party at a restaurant. I heard his mom talk about how expensive this place was and how much money they paid for reservations, so this clearly was a huge deal for them. My fiance and I were getting ready, and I noticed my engagement ring wasn't where I left it before I entered the shower. I freaked out and looked for it everywhere. I asked my fiance about it, and he said he didn't see it. I freaked out and was running out of time for the party. He sat there watching me, almost losing my mind trying to find it, to the point where I started crying because without the ring, I couldn't show up to the party. I kept thinking about what his family would say and how they think I was irresponsible to lose a ring that is somewhat expensive. I gave up looking and sat down and just cried in frustration. Next thing I knew, my fiance was standing in front of me laughing with his hand extended to me with the ring in it. I asked where he found it and he could barely speak and say that he hid it from me last minute before the party as a prank. I was in shock, but I just sort of blew up on him and started yelling, saying that he hid the ring, made me freak out for 2 hours and almost made me miss the party. He was like, "Relax, it was a prank, okay? Don't make a big deal out of it and ruin the evening." I told him I wasn't going to the party and that if his family asked, I would tell them it was because he hid my ring. He freaked out and started begging me to let it go and just go with him, but I refused and went into the bathroom, took my medication, and stayed there. He lost it and kept saying that I blew this out of proportion and that I ruined my own party and cost his family a lot of money and disrespected them by not attending. His family found out and they were mad at him, but also me for choosing to not attend and getting over it, but I was in a horrible state emotionally and couldn't handle being in public after what had happened. So, am I the asshole for choosing not to go after he hid the ring? Am I wrong for not letting my daughter spend her college fund on a house or a wedding? Backstory: I, 43 female, have 4 kids and I'm currently pregnant. My husband and I, 50 male, started adding to college funds every month for each of our kids pretty much as soon as we found out we were pregnant. I won't say the exact amount, but my husband has an excellent job, so it's more than most. We never told our kids because it just didn't feel necessary. My daughter Elle, 22 female, got pregnant when she was 16 and ended up dropping out of school. I was very disappointed, but I understood. However, I was under the impression she would return later, but she has no plans to. The dad stuck around, and now they have one more kid on the way. They are engaged but don't plan to marry until they can afford it. They were doing okay financially for a while, but due to the market right now, they've been struggling because Elle can't get a job since she doesn't have a diploma, so we've been loaning them money. My daughter Katie, 17 female, is a senior and just got accepted into college. We've been setting everything up, and obviously she knows about the fund now. Katie and Elle were talking and she was telling Elle about the school and Elle asked how she was planning on paying for it. Katie responded, "My college fund." I was in the room while they were talking and this made me panic. We had just planned on splitting it between the remaining 4 since we knew they were going to college. Elle asked me if they all had one and I wasn't going to lie, so I said yes. She got really excited and went to call her fiance and tell him the good news. I was confused and told her she couldn't have the money. She asked why and I said it's for school. She got upset and left my house. The next day, I got a call from Elle and she was crying and begging me to let her have the funds so she could finally afford a down payment and maybe even a wedding. I told her she could have the money if she went back to school and whatever money was left over she could use for whatever she wanted. She got super mad and started yelling at me and saying it's her money. I told her that it was my money and those were my conditions and she hung up. Now we are being harassed by her fiance's family. They aren't as fortunate as us, calling us assholes and a lot of other names, saying it's all gonna go to waste if she doesn't use it. We're setting her up for failure, etc. Now I'm wondering if I'm the asshole because my dad said we should give her the money as we saved it for her after all. So, am I?
My girlfriend, 23, is threatening to break up with me over a prank that I, 24, pulled on her and her family. This past weekend was a big camping trip that my girlfriend would be taking with her and her family. It would consist of her, her parents, her younger sister, her aunt, her uncle, and her 3 cousins. It was a big family trip that was being planned for cooler weather. My girlfriend told me all about where they would be camping and I decided to take advantage of that knowledge. I visited my girlfriend's house to say goodbye to her and wish her a fun trip, and when they all took off in their cars, I got in my car and drove to the campsite that they would be staying at. I know the area pretty well and I was able to find a spot to hide my car from view, and I was able to navigate the woods and keep an eye on them while remaining hidden from view. When it came to nighttime, I put on my Chewbacca costume and ruffled it up a little bit to make it wild and untamed. While the family was gathered around the campfire, I started to rustle the bushes. The family noticed and they didn't think much of it. Then I started making growling noises. The family was getting noticeably freaked out, and then my girlfriend's uncle started to walk towards where I was hiding. As soon as he got close enough, I jumped from behind the bushes and started making roaring noises while running and acting like Bigfoot. I shook their heads, threw their lawn chairs around, and chased after some of the cousins. I heard my girlfriend's dad yell, "Get the gun!" And that's when I knew I had to end the prank. I took off the costume, revealed myself, and the entire family was pissed. Long story short, I got yelled at by almost all of our family, and the noise attracted the campsite manager, who kicked me out after hearing what happened. Today I heard back from my girlfriend, and for the first time since the prank, she said that she's seriously considering breaking up with me. She said that she just needs some time to think about that, and she'll let me know when she's made her decision. Now I'm just left wondering what to do. I'm thinking I need to pull off a major apology, and I need some advice on what to say to save this relationship.
Am I the asshole for stopping my husband from traveling? Throwaway. For context, my husband loves to travel, and sometimes he even does it solo. We went together in some countries, and it was fun being with him doing so, but I got pregnant over the pandemic. So we sat down to talk about it because it was an accident. I've always wanted a baby anyways, just not this soon, and my husband's reaction was expectedly caught off guard, and he had mixed emotions. We both took it as a sign and wanted to keep the baby, but my husband says he still wants to travel and asked if I'm okay with it. My parents said they wanted to have a grandchild anyways and wanted it so bad that they even said they would watch him while we go out and have fun. Before I was even pregnant, they said this. So I knew my baby would be in good hands if we still travel, so I said yes. We decided to go through with the pregnancy. Fast forward to now. Our baby is 8 months, and my husband is an incredible father. He hasn't been anywhere since the baby was born, but he did occasionally talk about where to go next to travel. I honestly thought at this point that he should stay home and be a father because he's a parent now. He shouldn't be gone even for a day away from our baby. I told him this, and he got a bit upset. He wanted to think things through about this, so he asked for a little mental space to not talk about the subject right now, which I agreed. But then, literally the next day, his college friend contacted him and invited him to a wedding in Taiwan. He told me this and said his friend was the one who helped him go through a lot in his college years and at least give him maybe 4 or 5 days to visit there. I still said no because things changed. My husband exploded and said that I broke the promise I made while I was pregnant. He kept telling me to give the baby to my parents to watch, but I said we wouldn't be responsible parents if we do that. He kept claiming it's responsible because we know the baby will be safe, but I kept arguing back that it doesn't work that way, and I can really take him to court if he wants to abandon the baby. He broke his game system out of anger and has gotten silent afterwards. He only communicated about baby-related things and won't talk to me about anything else. Am I the asshole?
Don't break the game system. That's your escape. That is a red flag because you're purposely taking something that you will have a lot of joy in probably.
Yeah.
Just like you think it's going to send some message. Sending the wrong message, fella. It might be really healthy to get away for a minute, especially when you have very trustworthy and willing people to help. I mean, it doesn't mean you're going away for a month. I see more of a problem in the relationship between you two.
Am I the asshole for calling my girlfriend selfish for refusing to learn sign language for my daughter? My daughter Ruby was born mute and can't understand words, but we use sign language to communicate. I've been dating Amanda for 9 months and introduced our children around 3 months ago. They don't know sign language, so communication with Ruby was awkward at first because she hates having to write or use her phone at home. So I taught Amanda some basic signs beforehand, and I've continued teaching her and Mia more in this time. Mia, her daughter, is getting a lot better, but Amanda decided it's too hard and refuses to learn anymore. She said it's unnecessary because Ruby can still understand her. Am I the asshole for calling my girlfriend selfish for refusing to learn sign language for my daughter? My girlfriend said Ruby can understand her and communicate in other ways. While Ruby is willing to do that for them, she doesn't enjoy it and finds it frustrating. I told Amanda she's being selfish and lazy, and it's not fair to put all the effort on Ruby. It's one thing if she doesn't get it after years, but it's only been a few months, and it's just ridiculous. She basically called me the asshole and said it's not her fault she struggles with it. But that doesn't mean give up. If she wants to be in our life, it's the bare minimum to put effort in. But my brother agrees with Amanda that I can't force her to learn, and not everyone is good with it. Am I the asshole for wearing a wedding dress at a wedding? So my friend 20 female and I 19 male have been friends for a few years, and she recently got engaged. And a week ago, I got a DM from her for a small costume party she was hosting as a celebration. I asked if there was a theme, and she said that there wasn't. I'm a cosplayer, so I had a lot of choices, but didn't want to rock up in an anime cosplay. So I thought it would be funny to go to an engagement party as the corpse bride. I arrived and everything seemed normal, and I even got a lot of compliments and was having so much fun. But after 10 minutes, my friend's fiance walked out in a black tuxedo announcing this was their wedding.